Okay. Okay.
Okay, it is 6 o'clock, so I will go ahead and call the October 4th, 2021 Monticello School Board meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And then I will note that we have Kathy Ziebarth, Melissa Curtis, and Candace Carda all appearing virtually. Can you ladies hear us? I'm saying nods. I will be doing all votes by roll call since we are in separate locations tonight. So we'll go on to approval of the agenda. Everybody received their board packets in the mail, or in the email, and if there's, I'll take an approval of the agenda now.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Jeff Hegle, seconded by Jamie Sieben. All those in favor by roll call. Jamie?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Kathy? Oh, we can't hear her. Kathy, can you try that again? Nope. Okay, Kathy?
Hello, can you hear me?
Now we can hear you.
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Candy?
Aye.
Is that Candy saying?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. And Jennifer, aye. Motion passes 6-0. Now on to our citizens' comments, and we do have a request tonight coming from Mrs. Corinne Lazinski. Mrs. Lazinski, thank you for your participation in our meeting tonight. As a reminder to our community, school board will not deliberate, discuss, or engage in conversation with speakers during open forum. However, the board may ask administration to review the concerns presented. Mrs. Lazinski, you may now address the board.
Can I give you guys a handout?
Sure.
Okay. There you go.
And you'll have 3 minutes.
All right, sounds good. I'd like to talk about a dangerous and trendy idea that has recently encroached into our school system over the past few years. That trend is the idea of equity in education. On the handout, there are 2 images that displays the idea between equality versus equity. The first image has been widely used to depict the difference between these 2 concepts. When students in Monticello High School have asked their teachers and administrators to clarify the differences, this is the image that's used. And I'd like to point out that in this image, these individuals have not bought a ticket. They're clearly on the outside of the ballpark. With that being said, that confuses students even more. It doesn't clearly depict how it applies to education. So the second image correlates equity versus equality as it relates to a school system. The image highlights what happens when the dangerous trend in thinking is applied to education. You can see in the box marked equality that each student is standing on a foundation of high academic standards. Being that the United States of America is an equal rights nation and not an equal outcome nation, denying any student the equal access to all of the supports offered within a public school system is to be egregiously violating and denying their opportunity to achieve. In the box marked equity, you can see that additional supports are including great teaching and individual supports have been unfairly and unconstitutionally distributed to students that have not reached the desired achievement line. Now I'd like to challenge you to take a close look at what equity in the school system does. It creates a divisive atmosphere rooted in sexism and racism that allows for the unequal distribution of resources and an unequal opportunity to achieve. In order for us to move forward as a school system, we need to put an immediate stop to the implementation of trends into our schools, and our school board members, administrators, teachers, and community advisory committee members need to be fully focused and entirely committed to the equal distribution of research-based curriculum and classroom supports in order for our vision of every student every day to be implemented in a just manner. Thank you for your time.
you. We can move on to our student representative report tonight.
Hello, my name is Al-Mohamed. I'm a 12th grader, and this is my partner.
Hi, I'm Natalie Emmerich. I'm also a 12th grader.
And we are the student representatives. So these first 2 months, I'd say, have been a nice, pushing start. They've been pretty good. And right now I want to talk about homecoming, which was the big main event for September. So first we started off with a parking lot contest, which was basically something offered to all grades. It was where every person who had a parking lot, like a parking place to park their car, they were able to decorate their parking lot with chalk, and there was another contest, and I don't remember who won and what they won, but there was a contest. It was a lot of fun. You could see like nice little drawings of flowers and characters. I really enjoyed that. Next, we had the football game, which was my first time ever going to a football game, and I'd say that was actually kind of fun. There was like a lot of energy. Now, I've never been to a football game, but that was like, I didn't know half the people there, and it was like really easy to really get into it. And the theme for this year was red out. So our school colors are red and black. A lot of people were wearing a lot of red. You could really feel the school spirit. I felt that was really wonderful. I should also mention that I was on the homecoming court, along with Grace Smith, Nelson Anderson, White Swatsky, Gabby Rosacker, Macy Brooks, Hallie Dahlheimer, Austin Marquette, Bryce Block. That's it, okay, it's like 10 people. It was really exciting, I'd say. Being on the homecoming court was a lot of fun. I felt like I could really bond with the people who were also on it. Next we had co-ed volleyball, so it was where boys and girls could form their own volleyball team, and they could play against other members of the school. That was also a lot of fun. That also helped build, more trust and more bonds between different people with different grades. And all in all, this, first midterm, the mid-quarter, I'd say there was a lot of positivity, a lot of good energy. Personally, as a distance learner last year, I was really worried if we were going to really get back into the swing of things, of that good environment, but I really felt like my peers and we just really bonded again, and that was wonderful.
Another thing for our homecoming, we had our homecoming court and then our fall sports captains all come to all the elementary schools and the middle schools, and we all just got to sit and eat lunch with them, and that was just really fun, just like sitting and getting to know them, because a lot of us don't know who they are unless we have younger siblings, and it was just great getting them excited for the upcoming homecoming week. Another thing that started off great in our school year is our fall sports. Swimming's been doing great, volleyball's been doing great, soccer, football. We're all having a lot of fun, and from what I've heard, there's no drama. Everyone's just excited to be back, and I think everyone's just really appreciative of being able to play and just having like fans there, and I think the fans are also very appreciative of being able to watch their friends and their brothers and their sisters, because usually in the past we'll have like a theme for a volleyball game or like a soccer game, and we'll have a couple people dress up, but not like everybody, and I think all of the students, from what I've noticed, are getting super excited and asking what the theme is and excited to participate and just get ready for more fall upcoming events. We just started our fall musical. We're doing High School Musical, and it's kind of off of a movie perspective, and so they started practice for that in these past couple weeks, and we're really looking forward to that. Another thing that we started up is Unified Club. So Unified is where people with and without intellectual disabilities come together, and we all just do like really fun activities and just get to know each other and just like spread positivity throughout the school. So we have 2 classes with Unified. We have a Unified PE class, which we've had for a while, and this year we just started our Unified Music class, and I'm in both of those and I really enjoy them. In Unified PE, we do a ton of different sports. We had soccer last week and football this week, and then each Wednesday we get in the weight room and try to see how much we can lift. And then in Unified Music, we're all just like playing all different types of instruments and trying to find rhythms and trying to find patterns off of our teacher, and it's really fun all coming together and just like learning together and also experiencing new things together. And then we have a Unified Volleyball Night on October 19th, which kind of all wraps into our new thing that we're trying to start, which is called Unified Club. We're gonna have a bunch of students come together. We have a meeting this Friday, and we're all just gonna try to set up almost like a board with executive members so we can have an easier way of setting up some fun activities like polar plunge and getting out to sporting events and just a ton of activities are like that around the school.
That was good. Next week, I believe, are mid-quarters, and I wanted to mention, this progress of how we feel as students and some extracurricular activities that have become aware. So far, I'd say it's been a pretty good year. Mid-quarters, people haven't been complaining that much. People are, really nice to get back into the swing of things. And they're really happy that there are more opportunities to get involved. So DECA, student business, I hear that's coming back again, and a lot of my underclassmen peers are very happy, to get into that entrepreneurship interviews, becoming people into business and learning how to communicate with others and doing presentations. So I'm really happy that they get those opportunities. Interact, I heard an announcement last week that Interact was coming back. And I know my peers, kids in my grade and kids in the below grades are very excited, to go back into community service, especially those who want to participate in the Minnesota Honor Society. They're very happy to get that opportunity, especially those who love to interact with children. They're very glad that now that COVID's died down a bit, they can get that opportunity again to, play with the kids and interact with the kids. This one, pertains to me a little bit, the Student Council. I recently joined this year, and I know we've been, encouraging a lot of the underclassmen to join the Student Council, and from what I've been seeing, what I've been hearing, a lot of freshmen and a lot of sophomores have been really excited to join the Student Council, which is very good to hear. All in all, I say this has been a really good start. I think, from what we were expecting, we're pretty high, we're pretty good. So I'm very happy and impressed with everybody who's been doing, teachers, administrators, everybody. The students can really feel all the hard work you guys have been putting into us. I believe that's all we've had to say so far. We thank you so much for your time, and I think we take our leave. Thank you so much.
Thank you both for the
Before you leave.
thorough update.
Emily?
Thank you.
I have a question.
Does somebody have a question? Candace?
I do. Can you hear me okay?
We know you need her volume on.
Go ahead, Candy.
Either one of the young ladies that just presented. It's been years since my son was in Interact. Can you just refresh my memory? What was Interact about again?
All right. So I believe the question was, what is Interact? So basically, Interact is like this extracurricular program that the school offers where if, students like me or in the other grades are interested in like going to one of the elementary schools that are close to the high school and interact with kids during the recess time, they're able to do that. That's from like what I remember it and what I did it back in 9th grade. I believe there are other community service like opportunities. I'm not sure if this is new, but from what I heard, there's an opportunity to help people internationally, like international students, and help them feel welcomed in the community as well. So it's basically something that students from our high school can do to help their community, whether it be younger students, in the elementary schools, or students from other parts of the world, which is pretty cool in my personal opinion. Did that answer your question?
Back in, Candy, Mr. Rednick's here too, and he helps always find the advisors and oversees the program. So go ahead, Mr. Rednick.
Yeah. Interact is a club at the high school that our membership went down to almost zero last year because of COVID. Our first meeting, we had over 60 students at it. Interact is a club. There's no fee to be involved. It's anyone who wants to come and make a difference and volunteers. So they choose where they want to spend their time volunteering, whether it's in our community, at the state level, or internationally. So lots of volunteer opportunities for the group, and they just had their first meeting, and they're going to be planning out what they want to do throughout the school year.
That sounds great. Thank you for that. We'd love to hear more about the things that they do as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gavin, can we do something with their sound to try and get them louder? We can move on to the consent agenda. And board members, you would have received that information. If there's anything that needs discussion or anything that you have questions on, now would be the time. Otherwise, I'll take a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion made by Jeff Hegle, seconded by Jamie Sieben. All those in favor by roll call. Jamie?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Candy?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
And Jennifer, aye. Motion passes 6-0. Now we have an enrollment update with Tina.
Clicker work, Gavin? No? Okay. All right, so I have an enrollment update for the start of the school year. We're still working on a few things just to make sure we're getting accurate data. It's been a little challenging with our new online schools and some students being duly enrolled where they might be partially online and partially in our brick and mortar schools. So we want to make sure we're giving accurate enrollment information. Is this on? Can you hear me? Sorry. Can you hear me online?
Kathy, Melissa, Candy, can you hear
Yes.
Tina?
Okay. Do I need to start over? So, trying to get accurate information on enrollment to administration and to make good decisions. So with online, it's been a little challenging, again, mentioning with the dual enrolled, so we want to make sure we're just counting student one time and not twice. So next slide, we'll start with the elementary enrollment projections for K through 5. And so we've added a couple columns to here. We have the nature base, online, Little Mountain, Pinewood, and Eastview. And broke it down by grade levels and what does that look like for who's actually here right now versus what we projected. So in total, we projected 1,707 students. As of October 1, we had 1,752. So this does include our special ed cooperative students. So those that might be in our Little Mountain Foundations or our Pinewood co-op programs. In here we do, I think I took out the partial enrollments where we have some kids that are homeschool and coming in for a couple classes. So we had 2 in 3rd grade and 1 in 4th grade. So with our enrollment additions that we've kind of felt through our principals at the start of the school year, we did add 2 teachers in September to help with class sizes. Next we have middle school. So in total, we projected 1,004 students, and as of last week, we had 1,057. Again, a column for online and what's in our brick and mortar. This includes our co-op students, so in our RISE program and our Foundations program, and we did have 1 partial enrollment of a homeschooler in 6th grade. And from the start of the year, we did approve 2 teachers for our middle school classes. And last, we have our grades 9 through 12 for C5 programs. We have our online, high school, ALP, and C5 program. So again, all the students, whether they're Monticello or special ed cooperative students. And this one's a little more challenging as well because you have to take out students that are duly enrolled in the high school and the ALP, so that has been taken out, so we're only counting them one time. So we had 1,404 students that were projected, and as of last week, 1,432. So the last slide just has in total what we're up, and we'll look at this again in November when I do an enrollment projection, kind of just double check where are we sitting. We do tend to lose students in our secondary level throughout the year, so just want to see if we're still holding on to them or kind of where we're at, and look at enrollment trends for the future. Any questions here or online?
Tina, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you remind me the students? Sorry. The students that we have that are at the high school that also go to Buffalo to do the classes over there, they're included in that enrollment or in our enrollment?
They're included in our enrollment because the aid comes to Monticello. And then, so some of the students that are listed for the high school, they might only be here for a couple classes, but then for the rest of the day, they might go to Wright Technical.
Thank you, Tina.
Yep, good question.
So if my math is correct, this is Kathy, we're up 126 students over projection.
That's what I'm seeing right now, but again, I just kind of want to work with the secretaries and my controller to make sure we're not counting too many kids at the, more than once.
Any other questions? Thank you, Tina.
All right, thank you.
Now we have the election judge resolution. Clay?
Good evening. Tonight we just are bringing forth a resolution to appoint election judges for the upcoming November 2nd election. It needs to be done by this Friday, October 8th, so we're bringing it to you tonight. We have a list of, I believe it's 11 judges right now with, as the resolution states, an opportunity to add more if necessary. All of the judges are certified and trained, and they're all judges that the city of Monticello has worked with previously, and they've worked previous elections here in Monticello.
Somebody have the resolution up?
I can do it. Be it resolved by the School Board of Independent School District number 882, State of Minnesota as follows. 1. The individuals specified on Exhibit A attached hereto, each of whom is qualified to serve as an election judge, are hereby appointed as judges of election for the school district's special election on November 2nd, 2021, to act as such at the combined polling place listed on said exhibit. Number 2. The school district clerk is hereby authorized to appoint additional election judges as needed to fill vacancies that may occur on or before election day. Number 3, the election judges shall act as clerks of election, count the ballots cast, and submit the results to the school board for a canvass in the manner provided for other school district elections.
Second.
Resolution read by Jamie, seconded by Jeff. All those in favor by roll call. Jamie?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Candy?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
And Jennifer? Aye. Resolution passes 6-0. Now on to our acceptance of gifts.
All right, I'm going to go through the list of, we have 3 people, 3 organizations that have donated gifts to us. I'm going to go through them all, and then I'm going to invite my friends from the Monticello American Legion Auxiliary up for a photo opportunity, as they brought something with them that is a favorite for our Veterans Memorial Stadium. So, like I said, we have flags here, and Mary will present them to us here in a second for our Veterans Memorial Stadium, and that is one of our pride and joys of our community, is that entrance to our stadium. So a great community piece that we all get to enjoy, and thank the Monticello American Legion Auxiliary for always helping us with the flags to don the entrance. The second donation is from Moon Motorsports, and they have donated a piano for the Pinewood Music Department. So a $6,538 value to our Pinewood Elementary for the music department. It's one that will never have to be tuned again, so it's electronic, and that's a selling point of this, because each year the district has to spend a number of dollars to keep the piano in tune. So Mr. Borgman and Mr. Norman are going to be very excited that the music teachers have just saved the general budget at the Pinewood Elementary. Next up, Metro Satellite Solutions has donated 13 Blu-ray players, and this is for our adult basic education. A lot of people don't realize that of what a presence our community education has in adult basic education, even in our facilities such as jails. So that's going to that program. So those are going to that program for testing and education purposes. All right, so those are the 3. I'll wait for the resolution, and I'll invite my friends up from Legion Auxiliary.
Therefore, be it resolved by the Monticello School Board number 882 to gratefully accept the following donations. Monticello American Legion Auxiliary for flags for the Veterans Memorial outside of Monticello High School Stadium. The second is Moon Motorsports for $6,538 for the purchase of a piano for the Pinewood Music Department. And the third is Metro Satellite Solutions, 13 Blu-ray players for West ABE, which is Adult Basic Education, Stearns County Jail for the ABE program.
Second.
Resolution read by Jamie, seconded by Jeff. All those in favor by roll call. Jamie?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Candy?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Jennifer? Aye. Resolution passes 6-0. And thank you to our community for these generous gifts.
Melissa's going and I'll take a picture.
Okay. So, really stick some out.
Mr. Emmerich, you can come up here because you're the one that helps. Mr. Mack too. We got this community ed and activities. This is very good.
All right, so there's one little set in here, and then the American flags are actually in back order, so we have a set. We have the Minnesota flag, the POW, MIA, and the U.S. flag. So the U.S. flag's back on back order, so we have the second set of the POW and the Minnesota flag, and when we get the U.S. flag, we'll be back.
It's our favorite day of the year. So thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you,
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Now we can move on to our lane change recognition.
I invite Teacher Union President Joe Rosh to the podium to kick off the celebration. I knew we lost a few of our teachers that have, they were able to stay for the beginning part and then go on to their homes, but we still have we have a couple here, so go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I missed the cake and punch. I thought I was late. Now I'm on. My times were all messed up. But obviously for the teachers that are here and the ones that will look into this later, I mean, it's really well done for them. And just making this brief, I mean, these teachers thoroughly committed to making themselves better, the profession better, our school better, and of course, most importantly, our students better with furthering their education, and that's exceptional. They capitalize on a valuable thing that we negotiated with, our union negotiates with the school district, where we put an emphasis on teachers going back, furthering their education to improve our district, and capitalizing on that in two ways. One, to make us a better community, and then, of course, as teachers, let's face it, you make more money, and then that's really important as well. So, it's just this idea of congrats on moving up, improving staff and school, and thank you to everything that's been done here, and thank you to the district for putting aside this time to honor them as well.
I think Joe said it perfect right there at the end. It's just there's so many pluses for our teachers as they further their education, but it's hard work, and so we want to recognize the hard work, and I'm really proud to work for a school district who takes time to celebrate people as they've accomplished something great and moving forward in your education and showing the due diligence that it takes to not only teach in the school year but continue on with your classes throughout the school year in summers is remarkable. So we have at least two people that are still here. I had a few more earlier, so I'll have to get everybody their certificates later. But Amanda Kartak and Kellyanne Mockram, both from our high school. So if we could, we're going to teach everybody a magic clap. A magic clap is one loud clap on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys.
Eric and Joe, I just wanted to echo what you said. Working full-time and then going back to school to achieve a higher degree is a lot of work. So I really appreciate the fact that our teachers are doing that, and I'm so proud of that we offer that opportunity and that they're willing to put in all that extra work to do that. So I thank them greatly.
We have some really great teachers here, and it's always fun to be able to celebrate them. Now we've got our pay structure for students and supervision positions. Barb Wilson.
Good evening. I'm here tonight to talk with the board looking for approval of pay for our student workers and our adult workers that come to help out with activities and community events in our schools. So I've worked together with Gary Revnick and Jeremiah Mack as kind of the leaders of community education and activities to try to coordinate our efforts so that we can be consistent across our programs in how we pay for staff that come to help outside of their typical work hours, and students as well, when we hire students for positions to help as well. So we have, our first slide is about the middle school and the high school activities. So you can see that, oh, this is a little goofy. You can see that over on the left-hand side over here is what our current wage is that we pay. Hopefully it's coming up better for the board members as you look at it. And then the column on the right over here is what we're proposing for our workers. So basically our table workers and ticket takers have been making $13 an hour. Our concession workers have been making $14, and our activity hosts have been making $15. We are proposing that we pay all the adults that come back and help with activities at the $15 an hour rate. So that will keep it consistent across positions. It will make it easier for payroll and clearer to communicate with people what their pay will be for each category. Students that come to help with activities have been making $9 an hour, and sometimes if they come back after they graduate, they will be paid a little bit more. We are just proposing that we pay all of our students a starting rate of $12.50 an hour, and then we can adjust for students that come back older as Mr. Ragnick feels it's appropriate. So we feel like $12.50 is a competitive rate to be paying our students. They can go to other places and get positions, and we want to keep our students here working in our schools as much as possible. We also have students that come and help in the middle school and the high school, especially in the summer. They help with a whole variety of different kinds of projects. And, oops, can you go back one slide, Kevin? When students come to, that looks much better. When students come to help in the schools in the summer, we've been paying them the $9 an hour, and again, we're just proposing to pay them $12.50 an hour for that responsibility as well. All right, can you go to the next slide, Gavin? So in community education, there's a little bit more variety, so there's a couple of slides that cover community education, but you can see that for our hosts and instructors, concession paras, and the auditorium tech, we have positions or a fee structure that community ed is able to afford and communicate well. We have people in these positions, so we're proposing that we keep those responsibilities the same. The one thing we just want you to note, concession paras, we have a lot of concessions that, a lot of our paras that work here during the day, and then they come back and do concessions at night. And when they get into over 40 hours a week, they do earn overtime, a blended rate of overtime. So that's why the rate looks so much higher. It's that we really do need to pay them overtime if they work more than 40 hours. So I want to just keep that in mind. Our students currently in community education all make $12.50 an hour, so we will be keeping them the same at $12.50 an hour. All right, next slide, Gavin. Our pool staff is a little bit of a special exception as well in community ed because there are certification and hour requirements as they move through the different positions. So you can see we're proposing to start lifeguards out at $12.50 an hour from the $10 an hour, and moving them up to $15 an hour as they meet those hours and those requirements, the certifications. For swim instructors, same thing. Magic Adventures, just really want to focus on keeping our students similar. So the students here at the bottom are currently paid $10 an hour, and we're going to move those up to $12.50 an hour, just to keep our students the same. The above positions are really guided more by the para-contracts, so they're not really something that we wanted to dig into right now to try to change. So that those will change a little bit as the contract settles. So that should be all of the positions that I'm coming forward tonight to ask for some permission to bring some consistencies to how we pay our students and our staff. So, any questions? All right.
I have a question. This is Kathy.
Okay, go ahead.
When would these salary increases take effect?
Effective as of tomorrow.
And then I have a second question for the paras you mentioned that come back after their duty day. Is that in a voluntary capacity, or are they assigned to that duty?
They choose to work an extra shift for us.
So they don't have to, it's totally their choice?
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
And I would just note on that, we follow the wage theft law when that comes into play. So, I mean, so that question led me to think, even though it's voluntary, we still have guidelines from
Correct.
the state. Actually, that was federal guidelines with the wage theft law. So.
Yep.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Second. So moved, sorry.
Second.
Motion made by Jeff, seconded by Jamie. All those in favor by roll call. Jamie?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Candy?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Jennifer, aye. Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Now we have an 882 online update with Cindy Foshing.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. Can you hear me okay online? Oh, I don't see response. Kathy, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. We forget. So we thought it would be a good idea for me to come and just share some of the updates with our online program, so our Monticello 882 online program. And we'll do that again in the spring, once we've gotten through more than half of our school year, but we wanted to give you an update now. So to start with, if you want to go to the next slide, Gavin, I just wanted to give you an enrollment breakdown. So in our K through 5 program, you can see that we have 11 students total in our K through 5 program. One of those is a dual enrolled student like Tina was talking about. In our 6 through 12 program, we have 33 students enrolled. 4 of those are dual enrolled also. So they'll be with the online program, and they're also enrolled at the high school doing either Right Tech or OJT program for half of their day. If you look at this, 6 students in the K through 5 and 24 in the 6 through 12 were Monticello students last year. Homeschool students that we brought into our district, there were 2 from K through 5 and then 6 students from 6 through 12 from the homeschool programs. And then we got transfers from other schools, 3 of them from K through 5 and 3 from 6 through 12. So we brought in, 6 and 8 is 14 students who transferred in over the school year, or from last school year, excuse me. Go ahead. So some people have been asking, is this worth it? Is it worth the expense? And as everybody probably knows, when you start a new business or a new school like we are, there's always going to be some startup expenses. You're probably not going to make money in your first year. It takes some time to build. So I think we've done a really good job of building our program so far. So if we look at what our expenses are, we've got 2.5 FTEs. So we have 1 full-time person in the K through 5 program. We have our teacher in the K through 5 program. We have one full-time teacher in the 6 through 12 program. And then we have a half-time facilitator in the 6 through 12 program. There are 3 times as many students in the 6 through 12 program, so we needed additional staffing for that. So that costs about $250,000 approximately. And then if we look at our 2 online platforms, we have Edgenuity for the K through 5 and Apex for our 6 through 12. That's cost approximately $32,900. And just so that you know, these expenses this year came through a lot of it came through our CARES funding and ESSER funding. And we're doing this to provide additional opportunities for students who maybe aren't ready to come back into school or who need a different type of learning model. So in total, we have 44 students, but 5 of them are dual enrolled. So like Tina said, we can't count those. So now we have 39 students. And if we count those, the amount of funding that comes into us is about $301,397. That's how much those 39 students bring in. So if we look at those 39 students and we look at this, about $283,000, then we're doing fine, right? Except for we know some of these were Monticello students. So if we look at the 14 students that actually transferred into our district brand new, that brings in $106,297. So no, it's not a break even just yet. But I always think about, what about these 25 students who were in Monticello last year, who wanted to be online and may have gone somewhere else to search for an online program because there are many, many programs to choose from now. And they chose to stay with us. Had we lost those students, we could have lost $195,000. So in my mind, this is a very worthwhile investment, especially as we watch it grow over the years. So I'm excited to see that. All right, next slide. This is just a rundown of the grades that we have. So we have students in grades 1 all the way through grade 13. So we have 2 students who've actually come back to be we call them super seniors, who really want to get their diploma. So they're working with the online program to do that. But otherwise, you can see we have a wide variety of students at all grade levels. All right, next. So now I want to give you a little peek into what these platforms look like just quickly. So our Edgenuity platform is our K through 5, and this is Jana Cordell who teaches this. And they have these 7 classes, and then technology is intermixed in between their classes throughout the week. So they have your basic 7 classes. And then if we go to the next slide, when the student logs in, this is what they would see as soon as they log in. And so they see this academic snapshot right here. So right away they see all of their courses, they see what their grades are, they see how far along they are right now. So in the semester, they should be almost 23% of the way along. And you can see where they are. And then right away they're going to be able to look and see if they're on pace or if they're behind or if they're ahead. And so it's a really nice way for them to just be able to take a quick peek and see where am I. So they'll be able to say, oh, I better work on these 2 classes, so I'm a little bit behind in these 2 classes. Some of the other things where you see messages over there, if the teacher sends them messages, they'll have alerts in there, and they'll be able to go in and see what the teacher wants to talk with them about. Maybe the teacher wants to make an appointment with them, so they'll see that over there. If they click on their course information, it'll take them to the next screen. So go ahead, Gavin. There you go. They're going to see all of their courses that are sitting on this home page. And then they'll be able to look in here and decide which course they want to work on. Over there up on the left, see it says courses and to-do list and activity stream. The activity stream will show them that there's been some activity in their account, their teacher graded an assignment, sent it back to them, they'll be able to open it, look at it, see what their grades look like. So there's a lot of communication going back and forth with that activity stream. The to-do list, when they click on that, we'll get to that in a second. But the to-do list will tell them everything they have to do that day. So it's kind of nice. So I'm going to click into the math. So say I clicked into my math course, and go ahead, Gavin. If I clicked into my math course, it's going to take me to this page. And it's going to tell me everything that's coming up, everything that this says last visited, this is up next, regrouping. These are all the things I've already finished, and I can see I'm going to be in Module 5. There's no green check there yet. To-do list is going to tell me exactly what I need to do. So if I click on the to-do list, then Gavin, go ahead. There we go. it would give me those 3 things. And if you see, the first one says it's past due. So that's a to-do because I forgot to do it or I forgot to hand it in. And the other 2 are the things that are coming up. And this is just what a little lesson will look like. So it walks them through the lesson, and remember, every K through 5 student has a learning coach that sits next to them. It's a parent, a grandparent, or someone that has been designated as their learning coach. And they will sit and work through this with them, and then the teacher is online at all times to ask questions or to pop in and out and help them. So that's how the Edgenuity platform works right now. And then let's move forward. And these are some of the teacher reports that are available. So Janet can go in to any student she wants to. So at the top, she can just pop into that student, look at the courses, look how far they are, see if they're ahead or behind over here, and see when their last activity was. So they might be, Janet might be able to see maybe they didn't do anything this day in that particular course, and that's why they're behind. So she can see exactly when activities are happening. Same with this student here. The student is falling behind in many classes, so she's going to spend a lot of extra time with that student, whereas the other one is a little bit more independent and ahead. So those are the kind of reports that she sees. All right, you can move forward. And then that's more of a visual, so green is doing great, yellow means warning, I need help, and red would mean maybe I need to have a parent meeting or something. And then this is just another report that shows activity every day of the week. All right, you can go forward. These are just some of the fun samples that Jana shared with me that she's done with her students. She goes to their homes and drops things off at the door if they need art supplies or things like that. So she's done all these fun activities with them. This one I particularly like. They got fabric, they painted leaves, they stamped it, and then they actually sewed the pillows, and so it was a big art activity for them. Next, please. They did some social studies masks, which were fun. These were puppets, and they did these puppets to read with the story that they did. Go ahead. At the younger grade, they made paper dolls to go with the story that they read, or they made cloth bookmarks. So lots of fun things that they're doing besides just being online all day long. Go ahead. Then I want to move to the Apex platform. That's our 6 through 8, and then our 9 through 12. So 6 through 8, typical classes, they follow very much the same as our middle school classes are. So they've got all of their English 6 through 8, and then their reading class, and so forth with math, science, history, all the way down. There are actually some more electives available. I didn't put them all up here, but there are electives available as well for them. And then 9 through 12, same thing. All of the same courses that they would be taking up at our high school are offered through Apex. But again, it's a lot more independent learning when you're in 6 through 12. So it's a little bit harder. You don't have that learning coach always sitting next to you and helping you. So go ahead. Oh, wait, you want to go back one? I wanted to make sure I emphasize, in Apex, these students also have access to high-level rigorous courses. There's at least 3, there's more really, AP courses. They could do AP Calculus, AP Biology, AP Psychology, and there's multitudes of AP classes that they could take through Apex. Again, when the teacher pops in and wants to see how their students are doing, this is what they see. So she can see, I whited out the students, so you don't see them, but she would see all the student names there, and she can see these students are doing great, and these 4 are falling behind, and I need to really meet with them one-on-one to really help catch them up. Go ahead. And Ben Lundquist and Barb work together through the high school. Same thing, they can just, this is a typical report that they would see. They could also click into these little numbers right here, and it'll tell them exactly what activities are overdue, specifically. So it's a very user-friendly program. Go ahead. And then this is one of my favorite reports because the teacher can go to this, and again, I blacked out the student names. Teacher can go to this, though, and see how many minutes a student has spent in a particular week or month or whatever. So if you look at this, this student has spent 0 minutes at all. And then this one's 14 hours, but that one's 115 hours. So we can really see how much time they're putting into their coursework and maybe why they're falling behind because they're not putting in enough time. So it's a really good analytic tool. Go ahead. This is a sample communication that Barb Mann sent out to all of her middle school parents, and I wanted to share this with you because there's a little video right here that goes home to parents to tell them how to check their students' accounts on Apex. And so I'm just going to play a tiny little clip for you. So Gavin, if you would click on the word here.
Welcome to the weekly progress report for Apex Learning. If you're signed up to receive a weekly progress report for your student, you will get an email every week.
Probably not going to hear it, are we? Okay, so that's a video, and it walks the parents all the way through the student's account and how they can look at it and how they can see if their students are behind and on what. And so the parents, it's just like being on Infinite Campus. They can be on Apex to be checking their students' grades as well. So it's really nice, and it explains it to them. So you can stop that. And then last, I just want to show you quick what the students would see if they go into Apex. So this is what their screen would look like. This is, for example, of physics, and these are the different units. They click into the unit, and it walks them through the unit. Go ahead, next. This is what some of the things will look like. The green checks means they've done these already, but you can see the variety of activities that they do. They do study guides, quizzes, they do readings, they do discussions, they do writings. Every time a student hits a quiz or a test, they get a block like this where the student has the teacher has to unlock it for the student because the teacher wants to monitor when they take a quiz or test, just like you would in a classroom. So it's really set up nicely for that. This is a sample of what a study guide is, and then the student would have to fill in the study guide, and then they would have to, when they're done, they would have to, there's a submit button when they're done. They send it to the teacher. Go ahead. And then they'd write essays. Again, they would have to submit when they're done. Go ahead. That's middle school science. And then they do some investigations. So they still do experiments at home just like they would in the building. This is her class. I just wanted to show it to you, but she sent that to me with all of her students looking cheery in the morning, some of them looking sleepy, but yeah, she has morning meeting every day just like Jana does. So the last thing I wanted to tell you is that right now all of 3 of those teachers are creating their own online platform. Probably using the wrong words, but if you were to click just on the screen, Gavin, it takes you to what they're creating. So right now, if you were to go up to contact information, they're creating the teachers down here and their hours. And all the way across the top, they've got resources and announcements, and it's going to be attached to our webpage as soon as they get done. But it's going to be very specific to their own online kids. So they're working really hard at it. And last, just I want to know, these are the things that we still have to work on, so this is something we'll have to collaborate on and still keep working on. More efficient application processes, enrollment, course registration. We need to work out some secretarial duties so that we can streamline things a little bit better. Our goal is within 2 or 3 years, we want everything to be asynchronous or synchronous, but with our own teachers leading courses, not using a platform at all. And then work on our policies and procedures a little bit better. So any questions, anyone?
Thank you, Cindy. That was a great presentation. I do have a question. You had said that they can see their grades and things through this platform. Are they also having to go into like the parent portal and things like that, or if we would send surveys or paying fees? Do they still need to go through those separate things?
If I understand you, you're wondering if they need to go kind of like, do they have to monitor Infinite Campus too while they're monitoring this? And they don't. The teachers are not re-entering all the grades over to Infinite Campus. They're just using this one. They'll just use Infinite Campus for attendance, and they'll use Infinite Campus to enter final grades. But they won't enter every assignment into Infinite Campus. So this Apex will be the source for parents to go to. Same with Edgenuity.
So at what point do we say, okay, we have 10 more students, it's not enough? Do we say it was a good try, we're not going to do this anymore? Is there a goal here? Is there a point where we say, or is it just going to keep going? What's the end? Are we?
Yeah, I don't have an answer to that. I wish I did have an answer to that. In my opinion, like if you were to start a new business, I would say you need to give it 2 or 3 years before you say, that you wouldn't do that. But I kind of think you need to give it a couple, 2, 3 years. the reality is that every district in Minnesota, pretty much every district is going to begin to offer online programming. And if we don't offer it, we will lose students to another online program. How many, I don't know. So that's still one of those things we need to work on, I think. Wish I had an answer for you.
And I got to sit with Cindy and the teachers a couple times now, including last Friday. And I think the thing that I'm most proud of with this program is we're trying to build it on the same premise that the rest of the district prides himself on, and that's relationships. Our online teachers and facilitator, we're talking about the hours that they spend on in a virtual but face-to-face type of meeting every day with their students, and it's phenomenal. And as you can see, we're not trying to do the cookie cutter connections program that, like there's some online connections programs down in the cities that have 50 to 1. I've called several times as a potential parent, pretending, just try to get as much information as I can to learn about these programs, and they're 50 to 1, teacher to student ratio. As you can see, we're not that, and anything that we've started here, thanks to our leaders slowing me down, thanks to the teachers giving me real feedback from the trenches, but we built nature-based and online slow so that it can be successful. So we're building this slow on purpose this year because we have those CARES dollars. We could grow it even further. There are other students that we could have let in, but we're trying to be very mindful of the application process, only letting the students in right now that we believe can be successful in these type of settings. I mean, prior to this, you asked principals and teachers, how many students were successful when they left our program and went down to the cities, and that wasn't a really high, and this is pre-pandemic, but that wasn't a really high rate. They usually came back, and then they usually picked up some habits that maybe weren't as conducive to as a learner as you would want them. So, building it on relationships, building it small, but giving it some time to make sure that it's at least cost neutral, but have it as an opportunity for kids and families.
Cindy, the platforms for these, the Ingenuity and then the Apex, are those annual?
Thank you.
I can't hear Candy at all.
Candy, are you talking?
Yeah, sorry, I just had one more question.
Sure.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so the Ingenuity and the Apex, the platforms that we're using, are those annual fees for those? We pay those every year? They're not like a buy-in? They are annual, okay.
Yeah, they're annual.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, thank you.
Now on to therapy dogs with Gabe Hackett.
I realize no one's going to listen to a word I have to say with Coda up here, so I might bring it to every board meeting that I speak at. This is Coda. She is, as of 2 weeks ago, she's the newest therapy animal at Little Mountain Elementary. Hey, come on. I know it's weird. You stand behind this podium. Can you sit? Sit. Lay down. Good girl. Good girl. Stay. So, a little background. Coda is a 1.5-year-old English Mastiff, and she is a COVID pup. She was born in February of the pandemic, and if there was a silver lining for the pandemic, it was that we were able to get her, because I certainly wouldn't have had the time to take her through all the training necessary to become a therapy dog if it wasn't for the time that COVID afforded us. And so I wouldn't tell I wouldn't tell my kids this, but she was specifically picked out to be a therapy animal. She's kind of cheating right now. And so just the breed, she's an English Mastiff, so in general she's pretty lazy. She can sit in my office pretty much all day long and take naps and be just fine with it. Or when she works with students as well, she's a great cuddler, so she can just kind of hang out and be a great cuddler too. She has been through 2 rounds of obedience training as well as therapy training. She is a registered member of North Star Therapy Animals, and she is a certified read dog as well, which means she pretends to pay attention when the kids are reading to her. So, you know, when I take all of that, and kind of the reason that we wanted to explore this possibility at Little Mountain was just the level of social, emotional needs and mental health needs that we're seeing throughout all of our buildings. And I have a couple of principal friends in Lakeville that have therapy animals, and so we kind of dug into the work that they were doing in schools, and then also try to take that a step further and really add CODA into our system of support. Just today, we had a friend who needed a break, and his special education teacher was not available for that break, and CODA was there. And as much as I'd like to think that I could wave my magic wand and get those students to kind of recover and get back to class and regulated and ready to learn, there's nothing like having CODA there. It's amazing how quickly that they can kind of shift that thinking and calm themselves, hang out with CODA on my office floor for a little bit and pet her for a while. And the good thing about CODA is she wants to listen to every problem and every story they have, and we get them back to class pretty speedy. So we're taking baby steps. She might take a nap. I hope that's okay with everybody. We're taking baby steps as far as the number of students that she's working with. Luke Fearbend has reached out, wants to have CODA working with the students at the ALP as well, and so we're gonna work on that. One of my friends that I actually met through animal therapy training is Amy Walls. She is a Monticello resident and has had her kids all go through the program as well. And so Willow is her golden retriever, and she is looking to work with the schools and the students in our schools as well. So when we met with the board subcommittee for policy to make sure that we had all our I's dotted and T's crossed, they were very much in support, not just of having CODA at Little Mountain and the ALP, but also of growing the program. So we're very excited to start this program. I hate to say it, but she is way more famous than I am at Little Mountain. When CODA is with me, I don't get very many highs or high fives. It's all hugs for CODA. So, but really, you know, having me here today and CODA here just to say thank you, it's a good opportunity for everybody to see kind of how she operates, but also just to say thank you for supporting this program, because I think it's a difference maker for our kids. I really do. And I'd be happy to take any questions that you have.
Any questions online?
Can you hear me okay?
Now we can.
Perfect. So, Gabe, you said that she's gone through actually quite a bit of training. Do you have to ever bring her back? Is there something we need to look at in helping you to maintain what she has for certification?
That's a good question. So it depends on, there are a few different therapy animal certifications within the state of Minnesota. We go through North Star, and you have to be recertified every couple of years through North Star. Some will do like a lifetime, but I think it's important, you know, just as the animals age, to make sure that their temperament and their training is following through. And we also, Amy and I also do some continuing professional development with our trainer, so private courses, if you will, with the dogs.
And then you had said, I believe, and I'm not sure if it was here, if it was a different time we had visited with you, but you're also looking at educating some staff to be able to work with CODA with other people as well. And then when you're answering that, I'm sorry, my last one is building the program to get into the other schools, not just Little Mountain, because I'm sure parents hearing this are going to want to know, you know, you have that at Little Mountain, my child's at Pinewood, or my kid's at the high school. What does that look like?
Yeah, so good question. As far as growing the program, Amy Walls, who the subcommittee met a couple of weeks ago, she is very passionate about the middle and high school level learners and just her journey. And so she would very much like to get her golden retriever Willow working with the middle and high school students when she can. And she'd like to build a schedule so that she's there and the counselors would be able to schedule students to work with her. So I think that's the next step as far as growing the program. I'd also like to have a schedule for Coda to be able to work with Luke and his students at the ALP too. I think that she could make a big difference there. Right now, I'm the only certified handler or partner for Coda, but there are opportunities for other staff members to become certified handlers.
There's definitely ways that we can, get Mr. Hackett involved, and I could go trade with him for a little bit. Mrs. Hamill could show me the ropes over at Little Mountain. So as we continue to look for ways to grow this to more of our students, I think, just to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Hackett. It's been such a neat progression for him as he got to talk to the subcommittee and just listen to how articulate he is and how passionate he is to really do this, to serve every kid every day, give kids an opportunity to de-escalate or have a buddy at school that maybe they aren't finding as easy. So it really builds confidence in kids, and I'm so excited about it, and just to hear you talk about it today. And then I don't usually ask for interaction in the board, but I do know as I look around, there's several of us that have just gotten dogs within the last year. Just watch this right now. Raise your hand if you have a COVID dog. There's at least, yep, keep going, because I know a lot. Get up, Tina. Exactly. So I think a lot of us have those COVID dogs, but do not bring Coda around your dog and your spouse or significant other, because my wife would take one look at Coda and how well behaved he is and think that I have a problem. So.
Well, go ahead, Kathy.
Oh, Mr. Hackett, I have a question. Can you estimate, not including the cost of maintaining and vet bills and things like that, but just the training for the therapy dog, can you estimate what your costs have been to get Coda certified so that we have a better idea of the value that this is bringing and can put a label on it? Because obviously Coda's not getting a paycheck.
I couldn't give an exact number, Kathy, just because we started, basically when we brought her home in April, we started the obedience training right away. There've obviously been several trainings that we've gone through. I guess if I had to put a number on it right now, just for her training, not the vet bills or anything like that, I would say it's probably between $750 and $1,000, somewhere in there, to get to the point where we are right now. And that's just an estimate. I could go back and look, but that's my estimate.
Thank you. That gives us just an idea of where to start, and maybe we could memorialize that somewhere in our documents and our minutes and our policies as we're going forward, so that we know what the value of that contribution is or donation to the school district.
Thank you, Kathy. Any other questions?
Not a question, but I did want to bring up one other thing. After Gabe had presented to us at one of our little meetings so we could kind of explore this program, I was talking to a girlfriend of mine who's actually a social worker about this, and she brought up covered tonight, but I found very, very important. Besides de-escalating some of the students that may be kind of getting out of control, or that may be, getting past where their limit is. She had brought up the fact that it was almost paramount in quite a few cases that she had where kids just would not open up and things were not going well at home. And just sitting with one of the dogs that they had come in allowed that student to open up about some very, sad mental health issues, as well as another student that was thinking suicidal. So I think it goes beyond just de-escalating some things that maybe we think are behaviors and into a whole realm of students that we could be helping. So thank you so much, Gabe, for doing what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Gabe, for coming and bringing Coda with you.
You're welcome. Now who's going to help me get her out of here?
Then we have our COVID-19 update with Clay.
Okay, I think we often hear people talk about how hard it is to follow kids presenting, and I think I'm the first person in board history to follow a dog, so
Yeah.
it feels unfair. Tina, it feels like you should be up here. Anyway, we want to keep bringing COVID updates to the board. Obviously, it remains something, we're still in the pandemic. It remains part of what we're educating with, through, and around this year. So just wanted to bring a few updates to you tonight. Gavin, if you could go to the next slide. A couple of the basic ones, right? We continue to follow the safe return to in-person learning. There have not been any significant changes to that the last few weeks. If those come about, we will communicate that with, obviously, the board as well as all of our families and communities. And we track those changes on our website under our Safe Learning Plan. The COVID dashboard continues to be updated every Thursday with our weekly cases, both staff and students. And one of the new things is that we are starting optional staff testing actually this week. Testing will be conducted 2 times per month. It's in conjunction with Vault Health. It's the saliva kits that we can send in, and we get results back in 24 to 48 hours. We're, of course, asking staff if they're symptomatic or have reason to believe that they might be sick to go to a physician or primary care rather than to come in and test with us, but just providing a testing option as a way to kind of help track potential asymptomatic cases. We are partnering with CentraCare Health and Wright County Public Health to create future vaccination opportunities for any interested students. All of these opportunities have, of course, been optional to this point and will continue to be so. We sent out a survey to families last week, and we've had approximately 200 people respond affirmatively to being interested in a vaccine for their student, with well over 100 of those came in we asked, Wright County Public Health believes that the vaccine will be approved for students 5 and older later this fall. And so this was our first time communicating with that group in regards to the vaccine, and we've had, I want to say, 140 or so that have indicated that they're interested in that age group if the FDA takes that step. And then lastly, we're going to continue to inform families of testing opportunities. That's one of the things that the state has been pushing. Just recently, even today, we got communication on it, and one of the things that we've heard a lot from physicians and people working in clinics around town and around the area is how overburdened they are, through COVID, obviously, and have been for a long time. But one of the things that we're hearing is just how overwhelming testing is, and so we're really going to communicate with our families the variety of opportunities there are to test, including the use of at-home testing kits. That'll be going out in communication this week, and just if we can help at all, maybe ease a little bit of that burden, and also just make sure that our students and our families are aware of the variety of options that are out there, because for anyone that has had to schedule a test recently, I think everyone knows that it's not the easiest thing to do because everywhere is really busy right now, and it can be tough to get in. So we're going to try to continue to provide those opportunities and that information. We're actually going to put the testing information on our COVID website just as a resource for families, and we'll include it, like I said, in the communication this week. So that is kind of a summary of anything that might be new there. Does the board have any questions regarding that?
Thank you, Clay.
Thank you.
Now on to our first reading of policies. Mr. Wilson?
All right, first reading of policies. Tonight we are bringing forth policy 505, distribution of non-sponsored materials. The policy committee has had an opportunity to work through the policy with MSBA. and their recommended changes. All board members have had the opportunity to review the policies in the board packet. And then just if there are any questions at this time, we could either dive into them now or take them back with us, back to the policy committee and/or Barb and myself and Clay. Any questions on policy 505, distribution of non-school sponsored materials?
No?
Great, then we'll be moving these policies to a second reading. Thank you for the policy committee for your continued hard work. We appreciate that. If members haven't had a chance to look at any of the policies in depth, please continue to do so and reach out with any questions.
Thank you. And now we've reached the end, so I can call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Jeff, seconded by Jamie. All those in favor by roll call. Jamie?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Candy?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Jennifer? Aye. Motion passes 6-0. We adjourn at 7:15. Thank you, everyone.